Is it Epilepsy Awareness Month?
It is.
Oh
Yes.
my gosh. I'm so bad at there's like every month there's like 3 separate awareness things and I'm always off on them. So how are
Yeah.
you celebrating Epilepsy Awareness Month, Tiffany?
You know what? I'm sharing facts about epilepsy. I'm supporting every organization that is celebrating right now. I'm writing on my blogs. I'm just doing everything I possibly can that, can help others understand more about epilepsy. And yeah.
Your blog is amazing. I was like down a rabbit hole reading through your blog. It
I'm
is
glad you like it.
fantastic. The only thing I don't like is that there's not more. I was I love your blog.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Writing has been one of my favorite things probably since I was this big. Seriously.
I hear you. I definitely am a writer myself. But yours is so beautifully polished and I love the
Thank
topics you're taking
you.
on. I feel like mine's like free association therapy session. Like I just
Yeah.
randomly go, but you have these amazing topics. Like you took on something that ran across my feed for a long time. It was a big deal in the disability and chronic illness community when and I'm so bad at pronunciation, but Kim Heckim, is that right, for the fashion house that was like it was
Hmm.
a big thing in Fashion Week in Paris, and it was a fashion house that was I think the line was called Attention
Oh,
Seekers.
yes. Yes.
Yeah,
I really
yeah,
have a
that.
hard time pronouncing her name, but yeah, when I saw that, I was like, ooh, I
I mean,
can't really let that hide.
I have a less
Yeah.
charitable name for her that I pronounce very easily, but I'm trying not to be that person. So
Mm-hmm.
I won't use that name. But I will say that that was probably one of the least compassionate. Next to like, I think
Yeah.
there's some other things that went through on this year's Fashion Week, but that was pretty intense with the models walking down with IVs with like different disorders written across T-shirts, and you have a great blog post about that.
Thank you. I was, really, fighting my fingers thinking like, should I say anything? But I was like, I can't, I just feel, I feel like I'm antsy about this. I have to say something.
You said it very nicely too. I mean, I think you have such a great voice for writing where you call something out with force but not with cruelty.
Yeah, I don't want to be one of those people that are like, shaming people, but it has to be said. It needs to be addressed because, when I see something that's not right, you know.
Yeah, I mean, you did it very well without shaming, but still very like it
Well,
seems there's people who want to stand out and be like, hey, pay attention to me. And we see this a lot with comedians where they will like
yeah,
take on like really cruel and mean ways to be like, I am saying things that no one else is saying. It's like, yeah, but why? Why are you
well,
saying that? And there might be a reason no one's saying it. There could be a
yeah.
very good reason there.
I find that the best way to make an impact is to be kind about it because they'll listen better if you approach it in a kind way and not in a mean and shameful way because that turns people off.
Mm. That is a lesson I'm trying so hard to learn right now. It's I hope all of us
Yeah,
across this the world right now are trying to learn how to do that better. It's hard though when we have very strong opinions to remember
yeah,
how to speak in a way that other people will be able to hear it.
yeah, because that's what we want. We want to draw people in so they can hear how to turn things around and be better and not, yell at them and say, you did this, you did that, bad, like shame on you. And yeah,
I hate to say that's like the cruel like default part of myself that I don't enjoy very much. And as I'm
yeah,
getting older, I'm trying to learn how to like calm that side down a bit and take a breath.
right.
Especially on
Now,
social media, I'm trying really hard to like take a breath. Like my cousin is one of my favorite humans, and she is so good at this. And I'm not going to get political, I promise. It was just that a political candidate had snap back in a way that I was like, oh, that was fierce and awesome. And she's like, yeah, no, I understand that that wasn't okay what the other person said, but I want
Yeah.
someone who can go above the playground and just like be like,
Right.
that's not even on my radar. Like, not even a point. And I was like, that's actually a really good point. I was way too into the entertainment of the situation and not seeing that
Yeah.
we don't need this to be entertaining. We need this to be grown-ups. Like,
Yes. 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 We need to make a difference without, making it about that way.
that's
Yeah.
absolutely beautiful. I'm so grateful. There's been like a lot of people like teaching me lessons lately, not always the ones I've been wanting to learn, but they've
Mhm.
been fast and hard. And
Yeah.
uh, you had also an incredible blog post about intimacy and epilepsy.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would love to talk
Mm.
about that because
Yeah,
you
sure.
wrote about it so well and clearly. And even like if you don't have epilepsy, if you're listening to this as a caregiver or as someone who has a different disorder, this is absolutely a huge part of our lives, and that our chronic conditions can create
Yeah.
roadblocks to intimacy. Can you tell me a little bit about how you and your husband are navigating all of that?
You know, I it's funny because I started thinking about wanting to approach topics that really uh, made me, nervous to talk about, and I thought about it like I have to start opening up and being me and authentic and stop
I'm sorry, you have a
hiding.
kitten right behind you, and I just
Oh,
noticed. I'm sorry, I'm an animal fiend,
this
and I
is
didn't
my
mean to interrupt
baby.
you.
Yeah,
Oh,
this is my little child human, my little baby. Her name is
oh,
Indy.
those eyes. That was just like, I thought you had like a little like wrap on the other side of you, and then the wrap had ears and moved. I was like, oh.
Yeah,
All right,
that's my
so
baby.
if you're listening to this, head over to our YouTube channel and you can look at very cute kitten. I'm sorry, I did not mean to interrupt you. Intimacy and
That's
not cats.
yeah, yeah. Um, but I was fearful. Well, not fearful. Let me take that back. Let me turn that around. I was nervous to touch some of these topics, and I started realizing that I have to stop being nervous and start being authentic and being me and stop hiding behind my nervousness. And I knew that there are people out there have to be some people out there that are thinking about this, that want to talk about it. Um, and I really need to come out from behind that wall. um,
It's a hard thing to talk about. We're so
it
socialized to,
is.
and it's a weird socialization because it's everywhere. Like everything that we see on TV, all of our advertising, it all surrounds this.
Yeah.
Unless we're going to actually talk about how it affects our everyday lives and ourselves, and then it's like, ooh, hush.
Right. Well, I figured if somebody doesn't talk about it, then, nobody's going to talk about it.
No, and
I have
it's
to
a
bring it
hard
up.
thing. And it's even
It is.
hard in like a long-term marriage, even in a marriage or a partnership or a thing where you're actually really trusting of the other person. It's a hard thing to even have the right words for like, okay, is this
Yeah.
affecting us? Because I don't know about you, but I was like, I'm scared to hear the answer to this. Like, is this a
Well,
problem?
yeah.
I don't know what the solution is.
Well, I mean, I at first had a hard time talking to my husband about it. That was really, really hard, you
Mm,
know, because I was struggling internally within myself because I was so confused. I was thinking to myself, is it me or is it my medication or is it both? And then, I was thinking to myself, how do I approach my husband about this? Because I don't want to offend him in any way. And I just finally, decided, yeah, I can't handle this no more. I have to talk to him about this. And we finally just had that conversation. And I honestly started crying because I felt so bad, you
mm.
know. And then the next step was finding the guts, I'll say, for instance, to talk to my doctor about that.
Ooh, that's always a fun one. Do you get
Yeah.
the like white coat? I get a white coat shut down anytime they walk in with their white coats and their stethoscopes. Like all of my badass goes away, and like
Yeah.
I can't even like I turn into like I'm six again. Like it's weird.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even know how to
Yeah.
like approach weird topics with my doctors. It's always so, it's like talking to my dad. It's like, that part of my life doesn't exist, like it's just off to the side.
Yeah. You go into the doctor and say, "Hey, I'm having, intimacy problems. I'm having those." And I just had to, talk to myself and say, I got to get brave here. I'm not going to let epilepsy steal my my braveness. I'm not going to let epilepsy control me.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
that's a line. I'm so amazed to hear you talk about this. That's a line that I think a lot of us are walking, and a lot of it, like I certainly fall off of this tightrope of like, I'm not going to let my disability control me. My disability is absolutely controlling this right now. Like, it's this
Yes.
weird line of like, your body does absolutely limit what you can and can't do, and
Right. Yeah. I
but
mean, you
it's
wouldn't believe. Yeah.
but like you can't drive, and we're in very like it's so hard to like go back to that, like the lack of freedom. Like you have to have everyone drive you.
Well, it's funny because I actually can drive.
Oh,
I
I
have
read your
my
thing wrong. I'm sorry. I thought I
No,
read that you
it's
can't.
okay. It's okay. I have a driver's license. I can drive. I just choose not to drive because after my car accident, um, I that was a very traumatic situation for me. I was very, very thankful to have walked away from that, only having suffered whiplash. And I decided that I didn't want to take the risk of hurting myself or anyone else again. And I had consistent seizures, you know, which put me in a position where I didn't want to get behind the wheel. It just wasn't, a risk I was, willing to take.
I absolutely hear that. That's a brave and really kind, compassionate decision for you to make. I'm in a very similar boat because I dislocate my legs all the time. So if it's been a really rough week, I won't be able to drive, and I'll have to miss my doctor's appointments if no one can drive me places. It's a weird feeling to go from like adults, and then all of a sudden, like I'm in my 40s and I'm like calling my mom going, I need a ride, mom.
I know. Thank goodness for Uber and, all of that. I mean, thank goodness for that.
There's so many wonderful things that have happened in like the last 10 years that have really changed what disability looks like. It's a little frustrating because I'm near the Silicon Valley. I used to be in that world, and I am so desperate for Uber and Lyft to
And
step
Lyft,
it up.
yeah.
Like I want them to
Yeah.
step it up and start subsidizing for disability. Like
Right.
they have billions of dollars and they need tax breaks anyway. It would be so great. They're like, we're going to cover people's trips to hospitals and to their doctor
Mhm.
appointments if they're disabled. Like that would be so great if
Right.
they could just, step that part. They've done so many bad things. I think they could really use like a little bit of
Yeah.
excellent and good,
I
and
know.
right. That
I
would be so
know.
helpful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know. There needs
But
to be a holiday, like thank you Uber and Lyft Day or something.
I will thank them when they actually start being a responsible company. I'm so
Yes,
grateful
yes.
for them, but they
Yeah,
really need to step up their responsibility
they
level and
do.
do better things. But you're right. It's like this weird thing where like we're all having to be super grateful for things where I'm like pissed off at the companies. Like
Yeah,
I
yes,
am
that's
pissed
true.
off at Amazon, but I need them. Like, and I'm
Yeah,
grateful for
you are, yes, yes, you are preaching to the
it.
choir.
Do you watch The Good Place by any chance?
Oh, you know what? That's one thing that I've been told to check out. I have not yet,
I just
but
bring it up because it's one of my favorite shows. It's only 20
really?
episodes, and I'm not going to spoil anything for you. I'll just say one of the themes was that like humans get points for being good and bad points and whoever gets good points gets into the good place. And
Ah,
the person who's figuring out the point values is like, wait a minute, you can't even buy a tomato anymore because the
oh
organic
my
tomato might have
God.
been shipped. And like they're just talking about this, like the false choice that we all have set up for us of like we want to make good moral choices, but
Yeah.
it's almost like it's like this whole other stress level that I think a lot of us are going through with like,
Oh my gosh.
what's the like I don't want to use Apple because I'm upset about this, but Google's even worse about this. It's like there's
Oh
no
no. Wow.
Like I can't deal with any more anxiety. I'm done. But anyway, Good Place is a very good show. I even got my parents hooked on it.
Okay, I'm checking it out tonight. You got me sold. I'm checking it out tonight.
It was definitely one of those shows that like crosses all barriers. I was just so impressed with it. My like 18-year-old loved it. My 12-year-old, my parents, all of like, it's just something that goes through everyone.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome. That's so cool.
A little bit of bright and good in a kind of crazy world right now.
Yay, that's so cool.
So do you have to take like, are you daily managing your epilepsy or is it just as needed?
I'm on 3 different medications right now, which does pretty good, managing my seizures as best as possible. I have refractory epilepsy, which means that it's hard to manage with
Okay.
medication. But I have complex seizures every day. On good days, I will have like 5 to 10, and on bad days, I can have 10 or more.
And what are those? Because I know that different seizures are very different. What are your seizures like?
Well, the complex seizures are like, in my case, for instance, I can go blind in my left eye uh, for about maybe 30 seconds, and I'm still able to speak, but I can't see out of this eye,
I like
which,
to think that all eyes are not decorative. That would be really helpful
yeah,
for like depth perception and
right. Yeah.
wow.
It's,
Like these interviews always amaze me at what can happen in a human body. That is amazing.
right. So I can walk around, I can do everything I want to do. I'm just, not able to see out of that eye for about 30 seconds, which is a little annoying, but it's better than a grand mal seizure, which happens, rarely, it surprises me. It likes to surprise me out of nowhere, but I haven't had one of those in quite a while. But
So the medication is working then? Is that what the medication is for? To keep grand mal at bay?
yes, yes, yeah, it's doing its job pretty well. Besides the fact that I do have the complex partial seizures, but I'm doing fairly well. I mean, I can deal with the complex partial seizures. I mean, ideally, I would like to have no seizures at all, but
I hear that. That would be a great world. Well, you bring up a really great point. It was actually we were talking earlier. My father is in the hospital right now for a heart thing, and he and I were talking because I was trying to decide whether he needed his next dose of medication when I'd come in to visit him, and he was like, "But it's better, but it's not good." And I think that that just started to find the chronic illness thing, where it's like we have an idea of what healthy is, and I go through this where I'm like, it's better, but it's not even close to what I want it to be. So I almost like discount all of the better part, if that makes any sense.
yeah, right. Yeah,
Like if it's not just completely no dislocations, it's almost like, well, it's just not worth it then. And it's a
right.
hard mindset to get out of for me. I don't know if you have the same thing with the seizures where it's like, okay, but this is still happening.
Yeah, right. It's still happening, but I'm just grateful to be able to wake up every morning and do what I would need to do, what I like to do, and so yeah, it's better than better than just, having the bigger ones, and yeah, having all that those major issues, and yeah.
And so you have a whole advocacy group going on, if I understand correctly, TENS, is that what you're?
It's the Epilepsy Network, 10 for short.
Oh, thank you. Yes. I have new glasses on and I have my notes to the side that I'm trying to read. And it's like, I think I need to go back and get the glasses adjusted.
You know what? My
And
glasses are right over here. I wear them every day, but yeah, I'm good for now.
so was that a group that you started or is this a group that you're working with?
You know what? My husband and I created 10, the Epilepsy Network, in 2011, couple years after my diagnosis. We wanted to help others to learn more about epilepsy and seizures. We also wanted to help the public have a greater understanding as well. So, yeah,
I
we were
noticed
inspired.
that's an incredible inspiration. And I noticed on your website, which I really recommend everyone go to, if you're listening to this, head over to our website, invisiblenotbroken.com. And this interview will be there with all the links. And please go to Tiffany's website, because on the side, there was a whole explanation on what to do if someone's having a seizure. And that was,
Yes.
I love that that was just like right on the side all the time. You can see that, because as like citizens in the world, it's really good. We kind of like have these ideas of like mythology of what to do if someone's having a seizure. Can you run through
Right.
what you should actually do if you see someone having a seizure?
Yeah, absolutely. Also, real quick too, if you go to our website, we provide helpful resources for those wanting to learn more. And definitely, if you see someone having a seizure, you don't want to put something in their mouth. I know that's something that was once, thought of before a long time ago. That's an old myth that you just want to keep away. You want to help them, you want to roll them on their side so that they don't choke on their saliva. You want to, make sure that they're in a safe place, push aside anything that could be harmful so they don't hit their head or hurt their body, and time the seizure. If the seizure goes past 5 minutes, you're going to want to call the paramedics. You know, they'll typically, the seizure will pass, and you just want to be there to reassure them, that, comfort them, and make sure that they're, calm and at ease. And you definitely just want to, yeah, be there for them until they can come out of that. And yeah.
Do you have any suggestions on what you could say to someone when they come out of a seizure to help make them feel safe?
Oh, sure. Yeah, you want to just let them know that the seizure, that they had a seizure, that that you're right there with them. Let them know that everything's okay. Um, if ask them um, questions, like, do you know where you are? Just get a sense of their um, get a sense of their mindset, because a lot of times people will be confused when they come out of a seizure. Just make sure that they're okay. um, some people, if it's their first seizure, if it's their first seizure, you're gonna definitely want to call paramedics. If things seem a little off, or uh, not right, you're gonna want to call the paramedics, just to make sure that they're gonna be okay.
And for caregivers, is there anything that you could think of? Like, there's probably caregivers who are listening to this. A lot of times we get new listeners because someone will get diagnosed and then they look up the disorder and we come up for that. Is there anything you could tell like a caregiver who's just with someone with a new diagnosis, or anything you want to tell someone who's just been diagnosed with epilepsy on the first like 5 things they should probably start thinking about or doing? And the thing that comes to mind is I was reading through and you were saying that you have to keep a list for new people on what to do if you have a seizure. Like, I have to keep a list of my medications and what to do or not to do if I go unconscious. And everyone who's new in my life
Yeah.
who's like with me alone has to like learn like the basics. And I thought it was great that you have like a list for people for that. Is there anything else you could give that would help someone who's just new to this diagnosis or new to caring for the diagnosis?
uh, to help the caregivers.
Or someone who's just been diagnosed for the first time and is just trying to figure out, okay, what are the first, how do I live with this?
Oh, sure, sure. You know, just talk with your doctor. Ask them, what can I expect with my medications? What regarding side effects? are there support groups around that I can go to speak with others that also have epilepsy? Start researching your condition, epilepsy and seizures. Find uh, organizations and forums and so on and so forth, like on Facebook, like such as I did. That's exactly what I did. Um, for instance, I didn't know anybody at all when I was diagnosed. So I started researching epilepsy and seizures on Google, and I hopped onto Facebook and started, um, talking with others on Facebook and in groups. And it was so great to connect with others and, you know, um, build friendships and things like that. And yeah, that really made a huge impact for me. And just make sure, for instance, you know, on your phone to set alarms to remind you to take your medications. That's a big one. That's a huge one.
The only reason I'm laughing is like I'm always forgetting, did I take it or did I not take it? And
Oh
it's like,
my gosh.
oh, that scares me so bad every time. Is like, is I have very high level painkillers that I've taken certain times, and I have to make a decision of, do I take the super ones or the middle ones? And sometimes I can't remember which one I took, and it's like,
I
I need
know.
to, yeah, I want someone to create a really good and maybe someone's already done it. And if someone has done it, please leave it in the comments, because I'm not a coder. I can't make this app, but I want someone to make an app that has the alarm, and that there's just
Yes.
like, you code in what medications you're on, and you can just touch them when the alarm goes off to say you've taken that.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be great? I need someone to make
Oh
that.
my gosh. Yeah.
All right. Anyone who wants a good business idea, that I would buy that.
Right. And what's great too is that my husband, he also has his alarm synced with the same time as mine. So in case I forget or something, he reminds me like, hey, did you take your medicines? And it's like, oh yeah, that's right. Gets my phone's in the kitchen and I'm in my office and it's like, okay, yeah, that's right. I forgot. Oh, okay, good. I'm thankful that he had his phone on.
I am really thankful that you have such a good partner. That's just to have a trusted person in your life who can help you with everyday care management. I don't think people understand how much goes into managing a disability or a disorder. Like, there
Oh,
is so much every day. There's no off day. There's nowhere you're like, I'm done. I'm healthy for the day. I just need a break from it. Like,
yes, he has supported me uh, since the very beginning. I mean, I don't think I would be as strong as I would had it not been for his love and support,
that's
honestly.
a beautiful thing.
I mean, he encourages me and motivates me every single day.
Yeah, I talked to a lot of my friends are single, and they're always like, what do I look for in a person? I think you just kind of defined if you're looking for in any like long-term relationship or friendship. That's such like, those qualities are so important in another person that you're going to be investing time in.
Yeah, definitely, definitely having that support from your spouse or a friend, um, it's really medicinal in itself.
It is. I'm heartbroken when I talk to people, especially like I get to talk to a lot of teenager young people, and listening to their stories about where their families aren't believing the severity. And that just, it
Hmm.
hurts. Like, I just want to hug them. Like, that's such a hard thing to have to fight the people closest to you in your life for the compassion. That's not
Yeah,
a fight you should have to have. Like,
yeah.
there should be safe spaces of like, you're just, you only have to deal with the disability part and the physical part of it. You shouldn't, like, this is the safe place where you don't have to deal with the outside world. But you wrote another wonderful blog post. Seriously, I went down a rabbit hole with your blog. But you have life with epilepsy in public, and I thought that was
Hmm.
really fascinating, because talk about a very invisible disorder. Like, I
Yes.
I have canes and wheelchairs and things where I will use, even if I don't need to, just to keep people from from bumping into me to cause me to go to the hospital. So I'll use like these as visual reminders to give me a little space and not hurt me. But with epilepsy, there's nothing you have visually unless you wear a giant flashing shirt to say, please don't flash things in my eyes. Don't watch the fluorescent light bulbs. I'm probably forgetting a whole bunch of things, but what could things in public planning or just other people in general do to make life safer for you and other people with epilepsy just moving about in the world?
You know, I most of the time I wear my wristband, lets people know that I have epilepsy. In case anything happens, they can see, it tells you that I have epilepsy. So they know to call the paramedics or to stay with me and take care of me, you know, or, I'm always with somebody, my husband, my family member. I, don't go anywhere without somebody with me. Even if I'm having a good day, I don't want to take the risk. I just don't, um, I'm an independent person, of course. Yeah. But I just, ever since being diagnosed with epilepsy, I'm a little, hesitant to want to, go anywhere without these safety mechanisms.
That's one of the things I miss the most is being able to just jump in a car and drive down like Highway 1 with the music blaring just by myself,
You're
like
not
the alone
kidding.
time, right? Like
You're
all these
not
things I
kidding.
had as like my stress relief. Like I will go for a bike ride alone for like an hour, or like I lost all of my stress reliefs that I used to do, which was like driving alone, being alone out places. And
Oh,
I
yeah.
feel that with like, it's great to have the support and people, but I really miss going to a museum and being able to stop at whatever painting I was interested in for however long I want to be interested in it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. From time to time, I'll think about in the summertime when I used to drive down long roads and have the windows down and when I had longer hair, the wind blowing in my hair and the radio up and
I am
yeah.
crushing on your hair, by the way. My daughter's been
Oh,
going
thank
hair like
you.
this. She's like, I wanted to cut. She has hair. We both have hair to our waist, and she's like, I want to chop it all off. And I'm like, I look at you and yeah, that actually would be great. I'm going to tell her to go do it.
Oh, yeah. I had to shave it off. So, yeah, after I had my SEEG, so they shaved half of it, and I was like, "Well, I just can't live with half a head of hair." So my husband and I closed my eyes and I said, "Just go ahead, just shave it off. I can't look."
And now that's the fashion. Like she actually wants the full like sides and back shaved and like leave like a bit long. And that's like
Yeah.
the new thing. I'm like, that's really awesome. I love how that looks. So much less brushing time for her.
Yeah. Oh my
I
gosh.
I will appreciate getting my hairbrushes back. I will tell you that much. With like I live with a magpie basically. She steals all of my stuff. So I can get my hairbrushes back.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's getting to the point where I can have a mini, tiny ponytail, but I mean,
I honestly thought you made a style choice. It is gorgeous, but you're like,
thank
these are the
you.
things that we have to like give up that we weren't intending on giving up, from like hair to driving to alone time that's not in a room. It's just all
Yeah.
these unexpected things.
Well, you have to look at the positives in every situation. I mean, if we just, you know, um, pout and look at all the negatives in the situations, I mean, we're gonna have a bad day. We're gonna have a bad life if we just focus on all that. And I don't want to live like that.
My dogs absolutely love my down days when I'm stuck in bed. They are very happy that I get to be a human pillow. That's
I
that's
know.
definitely their up thing is, yes, mom is down.
Yeah, that's exactly how she is. When I'm feeling blue, she stays with me all the time.
And I mean, like, I even in parenting, like we used to have darling slug days. So when I couldn't move around and my daughter was a toddler, she would just curl up in bed and we would watch Jane Austen movies, and I'd put all the craft stuff in bed. So we would do like like basically preschool from a mattress. And it was, you adjust, right? Like,
Yeah,
and now there's
yeah.
all this technology that we can have. And we're talking about getting me an Apple phone so that I can have the watch, which will, I guess, alert
Oh,
someone if
yeah.
I fall down. Like if you fall down and you don't respond, it will call 911. And so
Oh,
we're
nice.
looking at some new ways for me to have some more independence, possibly without like
Yeah.
being leashed and
Yeah.
chaperoned.
Yeah, right, right. Yeah. Yeah, it's nice to have some time alone and, I do have little moments where I mean, I get to have my alone time and, I value that and I appreciate that very much. And I also value and appreciate, times where I get to be with family and friends. It's just, yeah, that's very precious to me. And yeah, just very, very meaningful to me.
So is there anything we're probably like we're at an hour and I could talk to you all day, but is there anything we have not covered that you had really wanted to punch on, show?
I would just say to anybody out there, um, just, you know, look at the silver linings in life, honestly. I know that, having a chronic illness is tough. It really is tough. But just, search out those silver linings. Yeah, honestly, you know, and we can honestly meditate on all the negative things that are going on, all the negative things that are in our life involving chronic illnesses, but there's so many positive things even still.
I absolutely hear that. And there's like it's just so much easier now than it was even like 5, 10 years ago with like my new favorite thing in the world is Libby. It's an app that is, at least here in the United States, it goes for all the libraries in the United States, and you
Mhm.
can download ebooks and download audiobooks right to your device. And like that was not around when I used to be bedridden for months at a time. So I'm so happy that
Yeah.
there's all of this reading and research I can do now. And we can do things like this where I don't know where you're at, but I know we are nowhere close and we get to have this conversation. And
Exactly.
there's
Yeah.
podcasts and blogs that we can do from bed. There's like it makes me very grateful after reading things like the Yellow Wallpaper from like the turn of the last century, where you're like
Right.
nothing to
Yeah.
do.
Yeah. I have found so many blessings um, since my diagnosis, and it just blows my mind that, I mean, even though I have this diagnosis in my life, it's like, yeah, it's a bummer, but at the same time, it's like, wow, look at all these blessings, even still, like, wow, it's amazing.
As goofy as it sounds, like I've set my life up for like I know that there's a good chance that there's going to be 2 to 3 weeks out of each month that I am in bed, and so I almost like just schedule out for when my favorite shows go up live on Netflix and Amazon Prime. So I'm like, okay, so this is awful, but The Crown just came out, so
I saw that one too. I
did
saw
you
that
watch
on the
it?
list. No, but you know what? You're giving me a list of so many shows to check out right now. I am making mental notes right now.
My gambit is wide. I like it's like my Spotify lists go from like opera to rap to R&B to like I'm all over the place with what I watch, but
I'm so eclectic when it comes to things. I mean, yeah.
so I'm happy. Like The Good Place is my favorite go-to for anyone. Like I know it's not going to offend anyone. I know that it's something that I could just go anyone who's, and if you're snarky like me who likes like RuPaul's Drag Race, you'll love The Good Place too. I'm not being paid by The Good Place. I don't know if you saw, but Jamil, oh goodness, I can't remember her last name. I feel so guilty. She plays one of the main characters on it, and she's like one of my favorite humans. She's a big advocate for she got Instagram to change their bylaws to not advertise diet aids to teenagers. And
Really?
she started a movement called I Weigh, and it's about taking out like instead of like, I weigh 170 pounds and I have this measurements, it's supposed to be like, I weigh kindness and compassion. I am measured by the loving art. And like, it was all this, like taking out this idea that we are numbers. And she's check her out. Like she's hilarious. She's
Okay.
also gone through a lot of disability herself, and
Really?
really funny and interesting woman. I love everything she's doing right now. I'm like, yeah. And I love how she handles it when she's gotten called out, because she's made some remarks that people are like, that's not very inclusive. And she's like, oh, okay, well, what would be more inclusive? This is not a community I had previous awareness of. And I love that how she handled it. Instead of being like, I guess I'm canceled, she's like, educate me. And I thought that was
Right.
in an interesting vein of like, when you're in the public eye, which you are with your blog, that sometimes we stumble, we don't have an awareness of everything. And like, that was a really great script to have, to be like, okay, I didn't know, let's please help me.
Right. Yeah.
So
Well,
do you have
that's amazing.
anything, I know that you've talked about the Bible's a big source of comfort for you, your husband, the blog. Do you have any other favorite go-tos for your down days where you're just stuck?
You know what? Art is definitely one big thing that is my go-to.
Art, do
I
you
just
do art, or do you look at art, or both?
Well, I actually like to create art. I discovered that actually after my diagnosis because, you know, um, since I don't drive, since I, am kind of, I'm more or less, a homebody, these days. I was looking for cool things that I'd like to do. So I got into things like origami. And one of my favorite things in all the world is string art.
Okay,
And
I don't know what this looks like.
oh my gosh, yeah. If you check out my Instagram page and you scroll down a little bit, you'll see some of the pieces that I've done. I actually have created a purple ribbon for epilepsy awareness string art piece.
I can't
It's
wait to see
really
this.
cool.
So
Yeah.
when you're listening to us, head over to our website. All of this will be linked up at the top. You'll be able to follow Tiffany on Twitter and on Instagram. If you just go to the very top, that will have Tiffany's website, the 10 website, and how to follow Tiffany. I can't wait to see your
Yeah.
work. So if you want to also just send me, if you have digital pictures of your work, I can put it up in a gallery at the top too, so everyone can just see it right away.
Oh, sure. Absolutely. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that would be wonderful. I thank you so much for coming on to the episode. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you for having me.
Oh, anytime you want to come back and talk art, I am in. that is my other world. I draw, I illustrate and write children's books on my free
Oh,
time.
I'd love to see that.
It's a lot. I just finished a fairy book, so I'm very excited. I have to set the layout today. It's been on my to-do list for 8 months, so I'm not really
Really?
high hopes this will be done by the end of today. But yeah, I wrote the story about 3 years ago, and then I illustrated it, and then I got better at illustrating, and so I keep redoing it just about every 6 months, because you get better as you do something, and then page.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is definitely my flow state, to get my head out of this hurts.
Oh, well, I'd love to see your work. That would be
Oh,
fantastic.
we'll follow each other on Instagram. That'll be great.
Yes. Yes, we must.
Well, thank you everyone for tuning in this week. Be kind, be gentle, be a badass. I just want to do a huge gratitude and thank you. I was shocked when we hit 60,000 downloads. I thought I had plenty of time to plan for 100,000 downloads, and then I lost track, and then it was at 90, and then we're at 115,000 downloads, to be on the short side of this, and I want to celebrate. I just have a lot going on right now. So if you all want to plan something or tell me what you would like me to plan, let me know. Put in the comments, send me an email, tell me what you think we should do. Post 100,000 downloads. So that's all thanks to you guys. You are amazing, and we don't advertise. So this is all of you sharing. Wow, we are international now. So welcome, Zimbabwe. Thank you for tuning in. That was kind of crazy cool. Hopefully I'll be able to someday travel over there. So I think that's about it. So tune in next week. Eva will have next week's episode. I don't know who that will be, but I'm sure it'll be amazing. Please share this episode. This is an incredible thing to know, at least to know what to do if you see someone having a seizure, because the wallet in the mouth, I know that's been a long time myth. It wasn't until my first interview with someone with epilepsy to find out that that was wrong. So yes, please share this, because there's someone in your community who has epilepsy. I pretty much guarantee it. So thank you so much for listening, share, and have a wonderful week.